came out in the middle of it.
Middle of it. But this
Yeah.
is your final statement.
Sure. I made my statement, so.
Yeah.
Everybody is here? Can I start? So, dear colleagues, today we have observed another round of the disinformation campaign from the Security Council by the Western delegations, as they raised in the Council the issue of the UAVs allegedly used by Russia in Ukraine. The aim of our Western colleagues is clear. They attempt to hit two targets at once, inventing an artificial pretext to put pressure on Russia and on Iran. On Russia, they try to distract the attention of the international community from their de facto engagement in the conflict in Ukraine. You all have seen reports of new arms transfers from the West, which help Kiev to reach the rear regions far beyond the front line and shell civilian objects, killing dozens of civilians in Donetsk, Kherson and Zaporozhye regions of the Russian Federation. These arms transfers are coupled with the large-scale direct engagement of Western military instructors in the military action within the ranks of the Ukrainian army. In parallel, the West, in line with its usual shameful practice, tries to put pressure on Iran, leveling baseless accusations about its violation of the United Nations Security Council Resolution 2231. We have seen such baseless accusations and conspiracy theories before, never any evidence being presented to the Council. All this nonsense, I would like to stress that the UAV is used by the Russian army in Ukraine, are manufactured in Russia. So these are all baseless allegations. You can see the labels Gerань, which means geranium, the flower in Russian, on the outer shell of these UAVs. As stated by Iranian officials, and they circulated their position in the Council today, no arms transfers in violation of Resolution 2231 have been ever conducted by Iran, and no drones were supplied by Iran to Russia for the use in the conflict in Ukraine. And I would recommend that you do not underestimate technological capabilities of the Russian drone industry. I can tell you, we know what we do and we know how to do it. As I said, the situation around the drones has no real link to the United Nations Security Council Resolution 2231. But it is even more absurd and hypocritical that the allegations against Iran and Russia come from the country which is itself in flagrant violation of this resolution. As you know, the United States has been violating it for 4 years now, since they unilaterally withdrew from the JCPOA in 2018. And they have yet shown no practical willingness to return to its implementation. Moreover, they continue to introduce new illegitimate unilateral sanctions against Iran. I would say that our Western colleagues, eager to shield Kiev regime by all means possible, are particularly short-sighted in their desire to accuse Iran. These are very unwise and provocative moves on their behalf that can further complicate the fragile negotiation process aimed at the restoration of the JCPOA. On the role of the UN Secretariat, it has no mandate to investigate anything regarding United Nations Security Council Resolution 2231. Its role, as enshrined in the note of the Security Council President 2016/44 of 16 January 2016, is purely technical, to prepare meeting rooms, circulate communications, etc. They are not a sanctions committee or its panel of experts. We have been dissatisfied with the overall performance of the Secretariat in the context of Resolution 2231. They act in a biased way, following the guidance from the Western capitals, and engage in illegal investigations in third countries, though they have neither mandate nor expertise to do so. After the Secretariat digs something, or rather studies whatever ready-made is handed to it by the West, they try to present it as the conclusions of the Secretary General. This is very unprofessional and casts a shadow on its authority. We hope that the Secretariat and the Secretary General himself will not again violate the decisions of the UN Security Council and will not go beyond their technical mandate and will abstain from engaging in any illegitimate investigation. Otherwise, we will have to reassess our collaboration with them, which is hardly in anyone's interests. We do not want to do it, but there will be no other choice. Thank you. Any question? Yes.
A couple of questions.
Okay.
You say that they are not Iranian drones. I'm not a drone expert. Weapons experts have looked at those and they say they look like a Shahed 136, which is an Iranian drone. First, are they Russian drones from an Iranian design? Can you explain why they seem to look identical to the Iranian drones that we're seeing?
James, I'm not a drone expert myself. I trust your opinion. Maybe you understand better about drones. But I can tell you that, first of all, the press secretary of the president said that they are Russian-made. Secondly, when you see the debris on the ground after they hit the targets, you would see inscriptions in Russian on the shell. So I don't think that Russian is very much widely used in Iran. I also heard that if you speak about Iranian drones, so they have the shape of some kind of American drones. They were copied from it. So can we say that Russian drones are resembling American drones or whatever? It's very difficult game of the words. But I would say that we have our drone industry, which produces the things that we need for this campaign, and all these allegations are entirely on the conscience of our Western colleagues.
So if the allegations are wrong, then why are you opposed to inspectors going to see UN independent inspectors checking that they are not Iranian-made drones?
Because they have no mandate to do so. There is no sanctions committee.
For you to prove your case, to let them in, whether they
We
have a
can't-
mandate or not.
We can't let in or agree with somebody who doesn't have a mandate to go there and to do whatever findings. This is absolutely irresponsible. So why should we do it? This team doesn't have this mandate to conduct investigation. It's not part of the sanctions committee. So this would be absolutely unprofessional and political. Just a minute. Yeah, Michelle.
Just to clarify what you said about, you basically said that if the UN does send experts to Ukraine to look at these drones, that you would, in
We would
some way...
reassess our cooperation with the
What
secretary.
does that mean?
I don't know. I think you're English-speaking
So you would
person,
reassess-
so you know what does reassess mean.
With the UN
With the UN Secretariat.
on all issues?
It depends, but we hope that they will abstain from this irresponsible step.
Some people might see that as a threat.
Some people. Where are they? Okay, so other questions? Yeah.
Mr. Ambassador, there have been accusations that the use of these drones against civilian infrastructure and civilian residential buildings is a violation of international humanitarian and human rights law. How does Russia respond to those accusations?
I think that these accusations have been already repeatedly debunked inadvertently by the Ukrainians themselves, because they have to admit that the drones are performing high precision strikes. In the occasions when civilian objects are hit, almost always there is an explanation. Either this is a Ukrainian stray anti-defense, anti-air defense missile, or somebody tried to hit this drone by automatic gun, and then it declined from its destination. You have enough of proofs like this in the internet. So we are performing high precision strikes. And I think that paying attention to this side of the story and not to pay attention to the continuous shelling of residential areas in Donetsk, in Lugansk regions, and in the south of Ukraine with high precision artillery provided by United States and Western countries, this is kind of hypocrisy. That's what the Western countries are doing right now.
Sir.
Yeah.
Kyoto News, Japanese news agency. What was the reaction from the U.S. when you said it violated the UN resolution, by withdrawing JCPOA itself?
You know that United States thinks that it has the right to do anything, unlike other countries, so they simply pretend that they don't hear us. When it's not profitable for them, they try to play deaf persons, okay? Yeah.
You're suggesting that the Iran deal is still alive, but there's...
Sorry?
You're suggesting that the Iran deal is still alive, but there's pretty much serious consensus that it...
Iran deal?
The Iran deal.
I see. JCPOA, you mean?
Yes.
I'm not an expert, of course. I know that the
Well, all you have to
negotiations
do
are...
is go on Twitter and the
Yeah, but they are
experts
dealing
saying
with
the
this
deal is dead.
in Vienna, and I'm not involved, but I understand that allegations of this type, they of course can complicate the whole atmosphere and the whole situation. You shouldn't be an expert to understand this.
Ambassador,
Yeah.
the Haiti sanctions resolution was up for a vote today. It's been postponed. What's Russia's position?
We're studying what the pen holders are doing. I think they have some new thoughts. Maybe they will try to make our mood not as gloomy as we have it right now.
But you don't like the current draft?
You heard my statement in the Security Council. The text hasn't changed since then, so all the grievances that I expressed are still valid. Okay? Anybody else? Thank you very much, and have a nice
Any
evening.
idea when there might be a vote on the Haiti sanctions
Yeah,
resolution?
we are not the pen holders, sorry. Hopefully not on Saturday. Thank you.
Ambassador, are you going to renew the grain deal? Yes, I mean Russia.
It depends what we get from this deal. So far we did get very little.
What do you think the negotiations, how do you think the negotiations are going?
I wouldn't be too optimistic at this stage.
Why
Because we
not?
look at the practical results, not at some kind of wishful thinking. Practical results are very modest, to put
And
it
what are your
mildly.
concerns, Ambassador? Why are you not optimistic?
The things that were promised to us are not being implemented for
And
the...
what do you expect from the UN or from the EU or US or other countries to renew it?
Well, to implement what was promised to us by the second part of this deal, which is being neglected by Western countries.
Do you think that the sanctions are hindering the Russian grain export? Is it because of the sanctions by the West?
They are not sanctioned directly, but there are indirect effects of these sanctions, and there is over-compliance from Western companies, and there is a clear undesire of Western countries to rectify this situation. This is
What do you
absolutely...
want the West to do to make sure that the deal is renewed?
Our part of the deal to be implemented in the same way as the Ukrainian part of the deal, because this is a package, and Secretary General repeatedly said it. As simple as this.
Ambassador, could it be linked? Could
Ambassador.
the grain deal be linked to what you've just talked about here?
Sorry?
I mean, could the grain deal be linked to what you've just talked about here? You made that ominous warning a moment ago about no longer cooperating with the Secretariat. One of the things the Secretariat thinks it's achieved most this year is the grain deal.
We should
Could
think
they
about
be
this.
linked?
Thank you for the suggestion, James. But I don't make direct links so far. Well, let's see on what the reaction of the UN Secretariat will be to this. Okay?
Ambassador, the UN said that the talks in Moscow last week were positive and constructive. So what leads you to...
Well, if they can prolong the deal on the basis of this without us, that would be valid. But unfortunately, it takes 2 or 3 to tango in this regard, and we have our position.
So you're not optimistic that this deal can be
We
extended?
don't see practical results on the ground so far. If things change, sorry.
For the ammonia pipeline to be activated from Russia through Ukraine?
The most important thing is export of fertilizers and the export of Russian food products. And there are big reserves in this regard.
But that includes the ammonia. That's a big part
I'm
of
not
the negotiations
I'm not the
right
biggest
now.
expert on this. I think ammonia was mentioned, but it was mentioned by the countries that are interested in this.
Well, Russia's interested in it.
Not only Russia.
You want your ammonia to get out onto the global markets.
Of course we want, but I don't think it's the core problem.
What's the core problem?
I told you repeatedly that the Western countries do not deliver on the promises that are in this
Well,
deal.
what particular promise are you talking about? You're talking
To
vague
help,
terms.
we want to see our food products and fertilizers to be on the market, and that's not the case. As simple as this.
And so that's what Rebecca Grinspan is working on, correct?
She's working on it, but we don't see practical results. She can work on it for quite a long time, but we want the results. It's November right now, not June, so it unfortunately doesn't work. But we'll see.
So in the terms of the grain deal, it's up for renewal on November 19th. What happens then?
I don't know. We're still quite a way to go, but so far we are not convinced. Thank you. The mood is like this.